Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. This time we are going to be talking about Mazin Saga Mutant Fighter on the Sega Genesis. This game is based off of a few things. First, there is the manga, Mazin Saga, and that is a tie in to the TV series and also, I think, a manga as well called Mazinger Z. So, in the manga that this is based off of, the main character destroys the Earth when he puts on the Z helmet, and then the story takes place on Mars. Everything else is pretty much the same, but it all takes place on Mars. In the game, God Kaiser Hell, which is the best name ever, he destroys the Earth, and it's up to your character to sort of overthrow him and save humanity, who has been living underground this whole time. And the game takes place in 1999, which was just kind of one of those things that a lot of pop culture was obsessed with. Just the world ending in 1999 in various ways. Obviously, none of them happened. The best way that I can describe this game is a multi genre game. You've got some beat 'em up stages, and then when you get to the boss fight, it turns into a pretty terrible 2D fighting game. Like, it's not good at all. But the beat 'em up stages are pretty good. I can actually compare this game to something like Heavy Nova, which I haven't talked about on this channel yet because I don't want to and I don't really like the game that much. But Heavy Nova had similar things to what Mason Saga had, where you go through a stage and then you get to a fighting game stage at the end where you fight a boss. The big difference is Heavy Nova kind of sucked, or at least I don't like it that much, and Mason Saga is pretty good on the beat 'em up stages and not all that great in the fighting game stage. There are some power ups that are thrown at you, which are pretty standard for just any video game. You get some stuff to restore your life, you get an invincibility item, a 1 up, and then you have two things that give you some more points. Those actually do matter because you get extra lives at certain points. So if you get 100,000 points, you get another life, then 300,000, and then 700,000. Aside from that, no, there really isn't too much of a reason for points aside from bragging rights. There are some special attacks in here, which are pretty cool. They just, drain a little bit of life, which is annoying, but it's what you should expect from a lot of beat 'em ups. There's also like a jumping spin attack, which is pretty cool. Then the game just kind of slows down and grinds to a halt when you get to the fighting game stage, where I'm pretty sure there are special attacks, but I wasn't able to actually find them when I was, getting my ass kicked. The biggest problem that I have with this, which is still an understandable problem to have, is that it's single player only. This kind of sucks for the beat 'em up stage, but it's completely understandable for the fighting game stage, as it just wouldn't make sense as a two-player game. I think the game looks really good. It doesn't look as great on the beat 'em up stages as some other games, but the fighting game stages and when you fight the bosses, those look really good. In the beat 'em up stages, the characters look pretty good. They're kind of unique, they make sense for the game, and you don't really fight them all just over and over again, so it's not like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where you're just kind of fighting the same Foot Clan members over and over. You do get a little bit of variety. They're not as well detailed because they're smaller than some of the other games. On the fighting game stages, the characters are really big and they're very well detailed. I think the boss characters actually look fantastic, especially when you're fighting them early on in the beat 'em up stages and they're just massive. And then you grow to being the size of them, so it's kind of like a Power Rangers kaiju battle type thing that's going on, which I really dig. It's just cool to look at. This is one of the better beat 'em up games, at least from a visual standpoint that I've seen. There's a lot going on in some of the screens. The backgrounds look great, especially on the beat 'em up stages. Everything looks really cool. I don't really have any issues with it until you get to some of the later stages and there are just a bunch of foreground obstructions. That part is really annoying. This is a really great game, despite being combined with a genre that I don't really like. And also, despite the fact that it's a single player game only, it's still a lot of fun to go through and play, and I can get used to the fighting game stages just the more that I practice with them. I don't like them, and I think they're a little clunky at times, but they're not horrible. This was a pretty fun game to discover. It's been sitting in my collection for a while, and I don't remember why I didn't really try it. I think it's one of the games that I just played to make sure it worked and then stuck it on a shelf and kind of forgot about it for a while. I also wish I had played it back in the 90s because I would have really liked it. I think a lot of my friends would have too. So, anyway, that's going to wrap things up. I really did enjoy this game a lot. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.